Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am Kelly Bowen, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Welcome, everybody. This is Emma Romano and the delectable and gorgeous
Kelly Bowen, and you are listening to
Inspired
Conversations.
Never get that right at the right time.
We got that pretty good then. I reckon that's definitely one of our better ones.
Welcome, everybody. This is going to be a doozy, and this is one that everybody needs to hear, and I'll tell you why. Because it happens to so many people. So I got a private message yesterday from a beautiful woman. I'll read out the message. Good morning, gorgeous. Just wanted to pop in and say how much I enjoyed episode 54 with Kel. I was wondering if you have or would consider an episode about how to navigate through the spiritual journey when your partner isn't necessarily into woo-woo. And how to keep the relationship on track when there's a big shift in belief systems, meaning sometimes our partners are stuck in the old programming while we are doing the work to dissolve and resolve the old programming and trauma so we can manifest and have all forms of abundance. Would love to hear your thoughts. So what I did was I rang her.
Ooh, I love it.
Right? I rang her and I said, okay, give me the juice, right? Tell me what's going on. She said, Emma, give me the tea. She goes, I've been married for over 20 years. I love this man. This man is my everything. And she said, I'm into the woo-woo now. She goes, I'm very, very spiritual and I'm all about, there's always money. Let's spend all our money. And he's like, I accept that you're going into this beautiful spiritual journey. I fully support you. I'm not into it myself, but I fully support you. I want to have a nest egg there. I want to have a secure amount of money for us. There's a bunch of money here that you can play with, but this money here in this account is the one that she wanted to play with. This is what it's about. It's about money. And he said, we're not moving that because that's our nest egg for us and our children. And this is what she's shitty about. So this was my answer. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I really want to hear where you're going to go with this.
I said to her, what a fucking amazing man. Because women, we need security. And security for us is very black and white. We need a house. We need to know that we can turn the tap on and there's water that flows out. We need to know that there is money there. We need to know that there's money coming in and money coming out. We need to know that the mortgage is paid for or the rent's paid for. We need to know that literally for our nervous system. And I said to her, I went, what you could be doing is pulling him out of his centered masculine energy, because masculine energy is to provide. Now, let me explain the word provide. Provide isn't just about providing money. It's providing the space for us women to be able to do what we want to do. And he's doing all of that.
Yeah.
He's doing all of that. So she starts crying. And she goes, oh my God, he is actually amazing. I went, yeah. I said, he's not stopping you being woo-woo. He's actually saying, you got a little play account here. You go for it. You can buy a crystal. You can do whatever you want. You go do your thing. But you're not touching our nest egg because that's our security. And I said to her, that is beautiful. He's really, really stepping into his masculine energy and looking after you, after all of you. So she went, oh, now I feel bad. I went, don't feel bad. I said, just go kiss your man, tell him he's amazing, give him a hug and say thank you for being so great. And she's like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. So I love that she has this. Do you know, I've got a story for you. This is what happened with Anthony and I.
Mm.
So when I first got into this business and I was doing energy work, and I healed myself from MS in 2014, and I was very much in spirituality, and I would be talking to Anthony about it. I said to him, I want to start a business. He goes, okay, you can do it. Where do you want to do this business? I said, let's just do it from home. We kind of had this like lounge area, and he goes, okay, we're going to reshuffle all downstairs. We're going to do an extension. So we can we can come out and like the lounge room will be your healing space. We're going to do an extension. We'll go upstairs. We'll put the boys upstairs, big lounge area out there. We'll put a big lounge room out the back. You can have so the client walks into the house. There's 2 rooms. I have an office, and then he goes, you can have the healing room. It means they're not walking through the lounge room and through our personal space, and there's a bathroom opposite that door. And I'm like, my God, this is amazing, right? So he does all of this. He's working. He's a chippy, right? Anthony's a carpenter. So he's working all during the day, coming home, working till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Oh,
amazing, right? Like an incredible man. Emma Romano cracks the shits.
because he's not spending enough time with you, right?
One day I go to him and he's sore, like his body is always sore. And I'm saying to him, just get on my table, babe. Like I can totally sort that out. No, it's okay. I've got to keep working. I'm like, just get on my table, babe. Like literally get on my table. I will have that. You won't have any shoulder pain in about probably 20, 25 minutes. No, babe. So this is what I crack the shits about. You don't support me. You don't even know what I do. Why don't you just get on the table? Let me do my magic. Why don't you believe in me, babe? Why don't you oh my fucking God, right?
Oh, yep.
Now I'm going to tell you, my family call Anthony Saint Anthony, right? This is a fucking saint. He looks at me, and for the very first time in all our marriage, like all our time together, so we've been together, 12 years then, he grabs me very gently by the shoulders. I'm a 5'2" woman, and he's 6 foot, and he's a big man. He's a big guy. He's gorgeous. Anyway, he holds me gently by the shoulders. He looks deeply down in my eyes, and he goes, baby, what more do you fucking want from me? Like, what? What do you mean, babe? Like, what do you mean? And he goes, we've just got out a loan of $375,000 so I can build you your dream house so you can have your dream business. You wanted to have it from home. I'm building it. In fact, the very first thing that he created was my healing space so I could start and not wait for the extension. So he looks at me and goes, do you really think I don't believe in you? Do you really think I don't believe in this? He goes, I am doing everything in my power for you to have what you can have. He said, the reason I'm not getting on your table is because I have to finish the house. And I'm like, oh my God. So where my story is going here is this. You know those Instagram couples, and they're on Instagram, but oh yes, we believe in each other and we're doing the work. Most of it's bullshit.
Yep.
99.9% of that is all fucking bullshit. And I tell you why. Because majority of those Instagram couples are in my rooms doing relationship sovereignty, and their relationships are falling apart. They're all fake as fuck, right?
Or they don't last.
They don't last.
You see them break up.
They don't last. They don't last.
And they get another one.
Yes.
And they do it all over again.
Yeah, that's right. 100%. Exactly right. Next. What it is this. I had this entitlement around what it was supposed to look like. And what it was actually better than what I thought it was going to look like. So I thought it had to look like what these Instagram couples were doing and stuff. You know, that they had to be holding hands and wearing harem pants together.
Karen pants. What are Karen pants?
No, harem pants.
Oh, harem pants. I was like, okay.
Maybe we should create a Karen pant. They were supposed to wear these harem pants together and, like, you know, wear tie-dye t-shirts together. click their crystals together. It just
Couples
was,
yoga.
just wasn't what was going on. What my man was really doing was the real work. He was building me my dream with his own fucking hands. Then we started going and doing relationship work together. But he never stopped me doing what I was going to do. He was never stopping me. This is what I say to these beautiful ladies. It's like Anthony. Anthony's really into football. I'm not. I don't even know how to score. Like, I don't. He is the president of the football club. This is how heavy he's into it. He's a president of the football club. He is the coach of the first women's team for Parkside Football Club. He's been on the news. He's been on current affairs for his passion for, I mean, he coaches generations, like 2 generations of women for football. Like, it's incredible what he does. And he's so powerful and so beautiful in his manner. And he's been doing this for years. I give 2 shits about football, but I'm really passionate about my man. So I make sure I go to presentation nights. I go to as many games as I possibly can on a Saturday if I've got them free, and if I'm in Melbourne, after each night he trains, I always ask him about it. That's as much as I get into it. A lot of the other wives who are really into football, they're there all the time, they're at training all the time. I'm not. I'm there at as much capacity as I could possibly be. Anthony's here in my business as much as his capacity he can possibly be too. It's not his business. He doesn't need to be passionate about my passion. He just needs to be passionate about me. I don't need to be passionate about Anthony's passions. I just need to be passionate about Anthony. And I think this is where the lines get blurred, because I know what we're like. We discovered this beautiful spiritual side and this spiritual, and we're like fucking born again, like, hallelujah, look at me, right? People, we get very righteous.
I have all the answers.
Don't we? Like, we get very righteous. Like, oh, the full moon's here, let's put our crystals out, like all that kind of stuff. Your man or your partner, whoever your partner is, man, female, whatever they are, they don't need to be into it. They just need to be into you. But they also can't be blocking what you're doing. If they're anti-spirituality or they're anti-you, they're anti whatever you're doing, and they're trying to stop it, then now we're talking about another issue here. We could be talking about a breakup here. We could be talking, are you completely out of alignment? And then that's when we got to go, how are you feeling unsupported? What is your partner saying? Is he putting you down? Is he embarrassed by it? Is he ashamed of you, or is he making you feel ashamed of it? Then that's a whole different kettle of fish. Cal, do you want to put your 2 bobs worth on it?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to circle back to that gold that you just shared, because there was so much in there in terms of, we romanticize the idea of what we think an ideal relationship is and how our partner should be, and I say the inverted commas, should be, as opposed to is. And what happens when we take this romanticized idea of what our dream relationship is and our dream partner and how they support us, and we project that onto the person, all that happens is your poor person is never going to live up to your idolized internal fantasy of what you think they should be, because in fantasy land, it's perfect partner. They don't fart, they don't have a bad day, they're always present for you, they're always available, they do the exact thing at the exact right time, and there's no space
have
for
morning breath ever.
Right? There's no space for this person's humanness. And also, because when you get fixated on that fantasy, it negates all of the beautiful things that they might be bringing to the table that you're not seeing because it's not your fantasy. And it is one of the biggest intimacy killers when it comes to relationship, is this idolized fantasy of the partner and the relationship. And even though we're told, like, if we want to be in a relationship or we want our relationship to shift, you know, create the dream, which is amazing. Create the dream, let go of the dream, and be present with the person, and be open to
Oh, wait,
this.
Cal, you need to say that again because that's a mic drop thing. Say that again. Create the dream. Go on.
Create the dream, create the person, let go of the dream, let go of the person, and be open to that and or something better, so that you can actually be with the person who shows up.
Yeah.
And right now, like, I've in the last, what are we now? We're March. In the last 3 months, I've watched my best friend fall in love with this incredible man. I love him too. Him his face. I wish you guys could see this.
Oh
He
my
is
God, I love this so much because two of my best friends have fallen in love in the last like 3 months.
wow. That's amazing.
Oh, I've got so
Look,
much.
I totally believe this. This is the year of love.
Same.
I'm feeling it all round. I know it's coming for me. I can feel like Cupid with his little thing. He's gonna. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for that arrow to hit me and for my brain to be like, ah, like I
Yeah.
know it's coming. I can feel it in my bones. Anyway, but watching her fall in love with this man. Now he is different to what her fantasy, like her creation of what the ideal life and the ideal partner is. There's just there's many aspects where he is that, and there's other aspects where he's just not at that stage of his life. However, he is the most divine, incredible man, and love him too. He's amazing. And which is really awesome because all of her other boyfriends I haven't really liked all that much, but this one I just love him. And he's so gorgeous and so beautiful. And watching her go through that process and then letting him be him and seeing how much more magic he brings to the table than the fantasy actually even allowed for.
That
Which
is
is
so beautiful.
yeah, which is such a beautiful thing. And it's a really beautiful thing witnessing like her falling into that and seeing him for all the things that she didn't even know that she wanted in the fantasy. And because she was flexible and it wasn't fixated on it, it's created this space for an even better experience to present itself. And it's been really beautiful watching it. But if you're so fixated on what that needs to be, you miss those things. And that's the beauty and the deliciousness that life can bring to you. And I think that that's where it's so special. And I know, like, even when I think about my last relationship and what you said there, Em, in terms of like knowing the difference between, if you're just caught in your fantasy and not really understanding the difference between masculine and feminine, and then when you get a greater perspective on it, you're like, oh fuck, you know, like they're doing that. I'm just not acknowledging it or recognizing it or understanding
Yeah.
what supporting me looks like from a masculine perspective. Or maybe I might be being a little bit entitled or whatever it is. If it's something like that, that's really easy to fix. It's also really easy to like shift past if you're going on a spiritual journey and they're not going with you, because as long as your core values are the same, then you can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
If your core values shift and like the rules around how you meet those values shift, you're going to have a bigger problem. And I was having a conversation with another friend, and I said to him, I was like, what do you think happens when you can be so into someone and so in love with them, and then all of a sudden, like once the relationship ends, that person just doesn't exist in your life? And I've got like my last relationship is like that. That person just does not exist in my life. And I asked him this question, and he's had a couple of relationships that have like where they're really in love with it and then just no resonance. And I'm like, what do you think happened? And I was expecting some really big, profound kind of answer. And the answer that I got back was really quite simplistic. And I was like, I really love the simplicity and the beauty in that, and I'll share it with you. And it was that sometimes in life, you can have an event happen that fundamentally changes you at your core,
Mm.
and you're no longer that person. You can have things in your life where it just takes you on two completely different paths, and it just highlights the differences that were already there. And then sometimes, like again, with like the event that happens, depending upon how you both deal with that, Like
Mm.
one can see it as this gift to grow and move through, and the other's like the other gets stuck in the victimization of the event. And when those two polarity things happen, there's just no resonance anymore. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I never thought about it that simplistically. And when I think about like my last relationship, why I have no contact with this person, is that when I was when I originally went into that relationship, I was still running a lot of the fawning program. And I know I've spoken about this on previous episodes, which is I need you to be okay for me to be okay. And if you're not okay, well, then I'm definitely not okay. So I had some mad people pleaser going on. I had some mad rescuer and hero. And, you know, if there was a problem, I just wanted to fix it. And my partner was the perfect opposite match for that. They had a lot of the fight defense mechanism, which is more of a taking energy. I wanted to give, they wanted to take. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And what happened when I started to fundamentally change the trauma programs that I had created my personality upon, the resonance within that relationship radically started to fall apart. And the differences that were already there became super amplified. And we couldn't reconcile the differences. But while I was still running that trauma program and they were still running that trauma program, it was the perfect glue. And I used to have this saying, and I got this out of Stan Tatkin's book, Your Brain on Love. And it is one of the most brilliant books I've ever read. It's about the psychobiology that goes on as we fall in love and we pair bond, like what's actually going on from a biochemical level and what's happening from a nervous system response in pair bonding. And in there, they talk about the safety and the security of the couple bubble. And I thought this was like the best thing that I'd ever come across. I literally thought that I had the magic secret to what makes relationships work. And I was like, right. And this was going into the relationship I'm just talking about. I was like, right, I've got the secret formula. I'm gonna nail this. I know what my last one was missed, the one before that one. I know what that was missing. This one, like I've got it. And part of the couple bubble is it talks about the emotional security of the relationship. So we look at the structural security, which is like, as Em said earlier, it's, you know, a roof over your head, food, you know, basic things. Don't cheat on your partner. Don't lie, like little,
Yep.
like that kind of stuff. But when you're looking at the emotional security, there's this whole other aspect of relationship that I hadn't considered. Just like our physical body, we have the physical health, we have our mental health, emotional health, and our spiritual health. We have the same thing within the relationship, because it's not just you and the person, it's you and the person and the third entity that you make together. And what is the health of the organism of that third entity? Anyway, so the emotional security of the relationship is, it's kind of like this love tank, a little bit like how they talk about the five love languages. I can't remember the name of the guy. I can see the book, but I can't remember the name. But again, they talk about the love tank. Same with the emotional security tank of the relationship. If the emotional security of the relationship is threatened, so let's just say one partner gets triggered by something. Somebody's feeling jealous about an event. They bring it to their partner. How you protect the emotional security of the relationship is, as the person who's not activated into a nervous system response, see the partner, it's like the partner's got a boo-boo. Your job is to put the band-aid on the boo-boo as quickly as possible to help the partner co-regulate with you. And then it is the partner's responsibility to go off and do whatever appropriate work so they stop bringing this issue into the relationship. Because when the relationship is healthy, if somebody might get a bit triggered about being jealous, or a bit frustrated that you haven't been as present lately because you've been working, or a bit upset that you forgot an important date or something like that. All of these things are little things that chip away at the emotional security of the relationship. Or you've been saying things, you know, you've been making promises, but you haven't been delivering, and there's been this incongruency between what you say and what you do. All of these things chip away at the emotional security of the relationship. But what happens when the person comes to you, it's your job to resolve that as quickly as possible, and then either one, do the repair work together, or if it's because somebody's getting triggered because they're jealous and it's their own stuff that's coming up and getting projected onto the relationship, it's then their responsibility to go and do the work. Now, I was like, great, this is awesome. I'm with somebody that's also doing the work. They're into coaching. Like my list was ticked. Anyway, but what wasn't happening, even though this person was doing the work on the things that they were getting super triggered about, it wasn't shifting fast enough. And it wasn't the right kind of work for what the problem was. And also, and the emotional security of the relationship, just like if I was to look at that like if it was a credit card, let's just say it was a $10,000 credit card. Not only had it spent the $10,000, it was another, I don't know, $100,000 in the red with 1,000% emotional interest to get paid back. Like by the time I even started to understand like what really needed to happen to resolve those issues, it was done. There was no coming back from that. And that's when I learned, yes, that strategy is amazing when both partners are relatively regulated and you're doing the right work to resolve the problem, not trying to mindset yourself over, like you can't mindset over the body's somatic response. Like you can't morning routine, magical scripting, whatever else over the top of that shit. You've got to deal with the somatic responses within the body. But once I realized that, I was like, no matter what we do, there's going to be no reconciling. And that was okay, it's time to leave. And now I know that there are just certain non-negotiables. I can still run that same strategy because it's a beautiful way to understand the health of the relationship. Yet now I'm very aware of what I learned through that process was there's some really big, hard non-negotiables that if it's a continuous repeat pattern that's not resolving, if you're continuously saying things and not following through, then these are like a big hard no's. If we're different in terms of our fundamental belief systems, if one person is something happens to them and they're very easy to shift to see the gift and the positiveness and they're quite flexible and adaptable in their thinking, and the other is that's doomsday and very fixed about it, that's just constant conflict in the relationship. Like these are fundamental aspects of people that are very hard to shift. And so all of these like little micro details that I didn't have, that I just thought if I'm running this big macro strategy, great. But then when I started to like look and break down some of these things and refining, okay, like what actually is a match for me? That's where some of these things started to come out. And this was an event that really over time, like I was fundamentally shifting and changing who I was. And sometimes when you're going through growth journeys like this, that can happen in relationships because the glue that brought you together, as you resolve and heal it, you realize isn't the glue that you thought it was.
Oh, it's big stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've got another question from this woman. Because she is the one who gave us the question in the beginning. So
yeah, great question, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic questions. This is what we love. We want you to give us questions. She said to me, because she's so into abundance now and everything, and her husband is very careful with money, how does that upset her frequency and energy around money? And I said, it can't unless you're in agreement with what he's doing or what he is. It cannot, because you're two different energies. So a lot of people get caught up, oh, my partner's such a tight ass and like thinks we're not going to get any money, so therefore we're not. Well, you just now made a pact. You just now made an agreement that that's the case. So with my case, Anthony is very careful with money. He makes a certain amount. Anthony gets paid per hour of that he works. He's on a very limited, he works per hour. So he knows exactly how much he's going to get. That's it. I don't. I'm in a completely different abundance bubble. And this is how, so he cannot affect my money flow unless I go, I'm in agreement that because my husband isn't as abundant as me, that I can't be as abundant. That's a pact you've just made to the universe. I don't have that pact. I'm sovereign. I get to choose. I get to choose how I feel, how I think, what I do, how I react. I get to choose how much money I'm coming in, how I'm made, all those kind of things. Anthony's very, very happy with the way he is over there, earning per hour. That's his paradigm. He's in agreement with it. It really works with his nervous system. It works with his belief systems. That is freaking amazing. It's also a great relief for me. Even though I'm earning $1 million and he's not earning anywhere near that, it is also a great relief for me because it gives me a certain amount of freedom to go, well, no matter what, we can still do the mortgage. We can still do this. We can still do that. You know, there's always that real underlying part of support.
Yeah. Security.
Yes. And it's so freaking exciting. And
Yeah.
it's so important for us.
Yeah, predictability, reliability,
Yes.
consistency, like all these are all like very solid masculine foundation
Yeah.
qualities.
Yes. And it's beautiful. So that's the question was, can my partner's belief systems and energy influence mine? Only if you're like, yeah, sure it can. Otherwise, no, it can't.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just gonna throw another idea out there with this. So, because it's about respecting the partner's map, but it's also finding creative ways where you can experience what it is that you want to experience. And if I'm reading between the lines and you've had a bit more conversations with this woman, Em, that I feel like, is she wanting to do some education courses? Is she wanting to start a business?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. If any of if in any of those boxes, come talk to me. We can also organize finance for you. So think about it like this. There might be a $10,000 course that you want to do, and that's going to help you either upskill or start your business, whatever it is. And if he's saying you can't touch the $10,000 over here, but you've got a little kiddie pool over here where you've got $100 a week you can play with, and if you're working, well, if we were to organize finance on that, then you're only spending somewhere around $75 a week. You've got your $10,000. You can go do your course, and you're only taking your $75 a week out of your little fun slushy pool that you've got to play with to do these sorts of things, which then allows you to bring that dream that you're wanting to experience in the future into the now moment. So sometimes when we're like, it's about understanding, like particularly if you're working in a partner kind of dynamic, understanding your person's map. He's doing a really awesome thing for you. He's creating the nest egg. Amazing. And he's like how Em's talking about Anthony. He has a beautiful, consistent, rhythmic flow that works as providing this beautiful safety for the relationship that's allowing your feminine to flow and be creative and being like, hey, I want to go and explore this. Very feminine. It's amazing. I support it. I'm the same. But with that, you're going to need money for it. And if you don't have the funds, the available funds, it's a question of resourcefulness. How else can I get access to money? And how can I make what I've got work for me? And this is which is what I love about what I do, is because this is where I can step in and just help you turn that $100 a week into $10,000, $15,000 that you can pay off over the next 5 years, and then do what it is that you want, where you can catalyst your abundance experience, because this is a very abundant way of doing it. Does that make sense? So there's so many different ways.
Yeah, I love that. Do you know, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday who was adamant they don't ever want to do payment plans. If they can't just pay it in full, they don't want to do it. And I went, do you know how much you are blocking in your life just by having that paradigm? Like, that is one of the biggest abundance blocks.
100%. And abundance isn't, I've always got the cash to pay for things. Abundance is an expression of resources. It's an expression of the flexibility in your thinking. It is an expression in the generosity of your time. And it's an expression of generosity in your energy. Like, what are you giving to others? How much? It's an expression in your capacity to receive. Most people have way more abundance in their fear than they're even allowing in. Like, the only reason you're experiencing your current reality is because that's your current abundant paradigm. If you pop that bubble, there's so many different layers beyond that. The universe is abundant. We've got an abundant oxygen that we breathe. If you ever look at nature, it's so abundant. Everything is thriving. It's us humans that get in the way and limit that. So, it's never a question, like when it comes to abundance, and I'm so quoting Tony Robbins with this, it's not a question of resources. It's a question of resourcefulness, because the resources are always there. Do you have the flexibility in your thinking and your problem solving ability to find a creative solution to have you shift your current reality into something that is more rich in abundance? And people discredit finance because they're like, well, I've gone into debt to get that money. Well, actually, look at what that money has just done to amplify your current situation that you get to pay off. It's something that you don't even notice coming out of your bank account. It's about being clever.
This is the thing about money. People think, oh, I'm going to lose money or I'm in debt. You're not. The money is being transferred.
Yeah.
It's like, so, Jack, my son, went to Japan last year and I lent him $3,000 for spending money.
Mm.
And he said to me, he just did a retreat with me. And he said to me, instead of paying me, he goes, just take the money out, pay yourself what I owe you. I went, okay. And he goes, oh, it kind of sucks that I've lost that money. I went, you never lost that money. He goes, what do you mean? I went, it was transferred into a trip to Japan. Would you rather $3,000 in your pocket, like in your bank account, or would you rather your rich experience of 3 weeks in Japan? He goes, my 3 weeks in Japan. I said, you
100%.
never, ever, ever lose money. You never lose money. It's always transferred.
Absolutely. And I love that you point that out, because anytime that I feel like a little bit of pinch around money, all I do is literally look around my house, and everything I look at and everything I touch is a transference of money. Like,
Yeah, that's
if
right.
I look here, I'm not sure if you can see, but my three little crystals, like this citrine crystal, this is a $3,500 crystal. This was like a $500 crystal, and this is a beautiful one that you got me. Like, I don't know, there's probably like $4,500 just sitting on my kitchen bench right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the transference of money. And this is where we forget, like, if we want to touch it, just touch the things in your world where it's transferred. And so the moment you do that, though, it's like, oh, the abundant frequencies are around me all the time, and the money frequency is around me all the time. I'm just deleting it from my reality.
That's right. Exactly. I love that we're talking about this. I think it's really super important. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we go, Kel?
I think in terms of abundance and answer this question, I think we've done a really good job. I'd love to hear our listeners' thoughts on it. If they've got any questions where they'd like us to go a little bit deeper with some of these aspects, we'd love your questions. We just find them so fun. How about you? How do you feel with what
I think we've nailed it. I reckon there's more to go, but I would love for our listeners to tell us what they want from us.
Yeah, drive us. Where do you want us to go with this?
Yeah, because guys, we're here for you. We're not here for us. We're here for you. And we come up with these great ideas about how to, what to talk about, but we want to hit the nail on the head. We want you to help us out. If you could help us out, we would really appreciate that. If you want a shout out, we'll give you a shout out. If you want to be anonymous, just let us know and we'll make you anonymous. But we would love to hear what you would like us to delve into. It was super important for us to be able to serve you in the best way possible.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe next we can talk about this, like the flexibility in thinking, because it is one of the greatest resources we can have. And we can actually do our next episode around how do we cultivate this flexibility within our thinking to be able to see the resources that are already in front of us.
Love that. Guys, thanks so much. We love you so much. Please check us out on Facebook, Instagram, all the
Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. If you want to see us in person, YouTube.
Yeah, on all the things. We're Inspired Conversation with Em and Cal. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Remember to share, tag a friend if they love it, because it's because of you that we exist. We love you so much. Mwah.
Mwah.